Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So let's start again with another session. But before that, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you with a grateful hearts as we begin this session. Thank you for the gift of knowledge and the opportunity to learn and grow. We ask your guidance and wisdom so that we may understand the lessons before us. Bless our teacher that may impart knowledge with clarity and patience. Bless the learners that may be focused, open-minded, and eager to apply what we learn in ways that will benefit the others. May this session be productive and meaningful. We offer this time to you. Okay, again, pagpalang araw sa ating lahat. And our topic for this session is about the risk management and internal control. So let me share my slide for our formal session. Okay. Mm. Okay. See. Okay. So we all know that in any business environment, tama, risks are unavoidable. Hindi talaga natin yan maiiwasan. They said that we cannot eliminate the risks, but we can minimize, di ba? So they can emerge from different aspects of operations and can significantly impact an organization's financial health, reputations, and the overall success. Kaya sobrang napakamahalaga yung tinatawag nating the risk management. Okay? So, all right, let's talk about the risk. So, sabi ko nga, in any business, as I mentioned, risk is inevitable. So, walang negosyo na walang kaakibat na panganib. Okay, but the good news, risk can be managed. Okay, effective risk management means identifying the potential risks. So, also assessing their likelihood and the impact and developing strategies to mitigate or handle them properly. So yun naman ang importante. Kahit na may risk, mayroong paraan to protect the business. Okay? And now let's talk about the key types of the business risk. Kasi sa alinmang venture, 'di ba? Risks are expected. Hindi natin maiiwasan ang uncertainties, but we can prepare for them. So the key to managing risk effectively is understanding what they are, where they come from, and how they impact a business. So let's go deeper into the different types of business risk and the real world examples of how they affect the organizations. So as you can see, number one natin dyan is yung strategic risk. So when we say strategic risk, so this risk arise when a company makes poor business decisions or fail to adapt changes in the industry. And strategic risk can stem from the wrong market positioning. Pwede rin siyang naging dahilan ng bad investments o kaya yung tinatawag nating poor leadership decision or unexpected industry disruptions. Magbibigay tayo ng example ha. So let's say for example, yung clothing brand, 'di ba? They decide to expand internationally. So they invest millions in opening stores in another country without conducting proper market research. So they later on, na-realize sila na iba pala ang fashion preference ng target market nila at hindi pasok sa demand yung mga produkto nila. So the company ends with unsold inventory, and of course, resulted to financial losses. At naalala din ba ninyo yung famous phone brand, di ba? Once refused to shift from the keypad phones to touch screens, thinking na hindi ito tatangkilikin ng market. Pero meanwhile, their competitors embrace innovations and leading to their dominance in the smartphone industry. So dahil dito, bumagsak yung dating industry leader. And the question is, how to manage the strategic risk? As I mentioned, number one, market research and competitive analysis. Okay, always study your consumer preference, the trends, and competitor strategies before making big business moves. Okay? Next one is the scenario planning. Consider different what if scenarios para maiwasan mo yung mga tinatawag nating surprise risk. Okay? And next is the diversifications. So avoid relying on just one market or product. So kapag bumagsak kasi yung isa, at least may ibang sources of revenue ka pa. Okay? Punta tayo dun sa second risk, that is the operational risk. So this risk come from the internal process failures. Maaring human errors, system breakdowns, or the external event that disrupt the day-to-day operations. So example, yung large manufacturing company relies on a single supplier of raw materials. One day, nagkaroon ng problema sa logistics at hindi dumating yung supplies nila on time. And because of this, nag-stop yung production line nila, leading to millions in lost sales. Okay? Example number 2 natin, yung fast food chain, they experience a cyber attack, diba? That shut down their ordering systems. So yung customers hindi makapag-place ng orders. So employees can't process payments and the company losses so significant revenue. So the question is how to manage the operational risk. Number one is the process optimization and backup plans. So businesses must regularly review their operations and ensure that they have the alternative supplier and contingency plan. So dapat meron talagang backup plans. What if the scenario happens? Ano ang magiging strategy natin? What will be our actions? Ano yung magiging program natin? Next is invest in technology and cyber security. So regular system, updating regular system is very important. Kasi yung mga security protocols and of course the staff training, they can prevent major operational failures. Next is training and quality control, which is very important, the quality control. So employees should be well trained to minimize the human errors and ensure the smooth operations. Third, let's go to the third, risk. It is the financial risk. When we say financial risk, it affects a company's ability to manage its cash flows. So yung securing fund and stay profitable despite the market fluctuations. Bigay tayo ng isang magandang example. Halimbawa, company borrows a huge amount of money to expand. Okay? Pero, biglang tumaas yung interest rate. Okay? Now, they are struggle to pay off their debt, which leads to bankruptcy. Okay? Another example, a business that relies heavily on foreign currency transactions, di ba? So they might suffer when the exchange rate fluctuate. So for example, kung biglang bumagsak yung halaga ng US dollar laban sa peso, so companies earning in dollars but spending in peso might lose profit. So ngayon, the question is, how to manage the financial risk. So number one is diversified revenue streams. So relying on a single income source is very risky. So businesses should explore multiple income channels. The second is the risk-based budgeting. So avoid excessive borrowing, okay? And ensure the company can withstand financial downturns. At yung tinatawag nating hedging strategies, for sure, we are all familiar with this. So, for businesses involved in global trade, okay, using hedging strategy can protect them from currency fluctuations. Okay, number 4 na tayo. Okay, next is the compliance risk. So when we say compliance risk, these risks occur when a company fails to comply with laws, industry standards, or the government regulations. And failure to comply can lead to fines, yan, penalties, the legal troubles, and reputational damage. Okay? So, tingnan natin yung isang example. Okay? A financial company fails to follow anti-money laundering regulations. So, the result, it gets fined millions and loses credibility with the customers. The other one is a tech company, technological company, does not comply with the data privacy laws and mishandles their customer information. So when a data breach occurs, the company faces massive lawsuits and losses consumer trust. So para maiwasan ang compliance risk, dapat mayroon tayong tinatawag na regular legal and regulatory audits. So businesses must ensure that they are always up to date with the changing laws and regulations. Next, employees should be aware of legal responsibilities and industry best practices. Kaya dapat mayroon talagang employee training on compliance. And of course, automating compliance tracking ensures that the company don't miss any legal requirements. So use compliance management system. And of course, the last one is the reputational risk. So yung a company's reputation is one of its most valuable assets. Okay? So reputational risks arise when a business loses customer trust because of scandals, product issues, or poor service. Ito nga yung sinasabi na a well-known fast food chain experienced a major food safety issue. So may mga nagkasakit dahil sa contaminated food, leading to lawsuits and a sharp decline in customer visits. So very important yung reputations. Next, a luxury brand is caught using child labor in their supply chain. So when the news is spread, kumalat, yung customers start boycotting their products and leading to financial losses and brand damage. So how can we manage the reputational risk? That's the question. Number one is the crisis management plan. Okay? When you say crisis management plan, companies should have a clear strategy to handle the PR, okay, public relations crisis, and respond quickly to customers' concerns. Okay? Next is the CSR, or the corporate social responsibility. So businesses that engage in ethical practices and community programs build positive reputations. And of course, maganda yung transparency is key, di ba? yung tinatawag nating proactive communication. So if a company makes a mistake, it should acknowledge the issue and take corrective action rather than ignore the problem. Yan na yung mas nakakatulong ngayon. Recognize your mistake, okay? With sincerity and take action and accountability. Mas na-appreciate usually ng stakeholders yan. So, to give the final thoughts about this 5 risks na to. So, business risks, as I mentioned, are inevitable pero ang mahalaga ay paano natin ito hinaharap. Okay? How do we address this, 'di ba? So, companies that proactively identify or assess and manage the risk are more likely to succeed in the long run. So whether it is strategic, operational, financial, compliance, or reputational risk, businesses need to be prepared for uncertainties. Always remember, a well-prepared business is a resilient business. Okay? Okay, dagdagan natin how to manage the above mentioned risks. Okay, so every business face risks. Okay, but the key to survival and success is knowing how to manage them properly. Hindi lang ito simpleng pag-iwas sa problema. Okay, risk management is about identifying, analyzing, and creating strategies to deal with these uncertainties before they cause serious damage. So let's go to the 4 essential steps in managing the business risk. Number 1 is the risk identifications. So the first step in managing risk is knowing what they are. Diba? Ano ba yan? Businesses needs to conduct a thorough analysis to identify the potential threats that could impact their operations. Pero paano natin yan ma-identify? Mayroon mga tools. Number 1 is the SWOT. Kilala natin ng SWOT analysis. So this method looks at the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats to determine the internal and external risk. Mayroon din tayong tinatawag na PESEL analysis. Okay? So, PESEL analysis, this examines the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors that could pose risk to the business. And of course, may mga ron tayong mga tinatawag na brainstorming sessions. So yung mga business leaders, employees, and experts work together to identify those risks based on their experience and knowledge. Okay? Next is the risk assessment. So, after identifying the risk, the next step is assessing their probability and its impact. So, hindi lahat ng risks are equal. Some can be minor inconvenience, while others can lead to huge financial losses or even business failure. So, paano ba tayo mag-assess ng risk? Number 1 is probability versus impact matrix. So, businesses categorize risk based on how likely they are to happen and how severe their consequences would be. Okay? Ito yung tinatawag nating high risk and low risk evaluation. Kasi some risks need immediate attention. Yun yung mga high risk. While other can be monitored over time or manageable. That's the low risk. For example, a manufacturing company might assess the risk of machine breakdowns. So if a key production machine fails, it could completely halt the productions, leading to major revenue loss. Since the impact is high, the company should or must prioritize maintenance and backup plans for its machine. Okay? Next is the risk mitigations. Once risks are assessed, companies must take actions. So, risk mitigation is about developing strategies para ma-minimize yung para ma-minimize, okay? At ma-transfer or even accept risk when necessary. So, what are the key risk mitigation strategies? Okay? Number one is the risk avoidance. A company decide not to expand into a political unstable country para to avoid potential losses. So meaning, when I say risk avoidance, simply not engaging in risky activities if the potential losses outweigh the benefits. Mas malaking mawawala mo kaysa sa benefits. The next is the risk reduction. Okay? Implementing better control or safety measure and preventive actions to lower the impact of risk. So that's the risk reduction. Ang example natin dito is yung mga e-commerce business, 'di ba? Invest in strong cyber security para ma-prevent yung hacking and data breaches. Okay? Next is the risk sharing. Okay? So transferring risk to insurance providers, suppliers, or business partners para ma-minimize yung losses. Okay? That's the risk sharing. Let's say for example, yung logistic company, they purchase insurance para ma-cover yung potential loss in case of the shipping accident. And of course, may tinatawag tayong risk acceptance. So when we say risk acceptance, so some risk cannot be avoided but can be prepared for. So businesses accept this risk and create a contingency plan. For example, yung restaurant, they accept the food spoilage na talagang hindi maiwasan. So they set aside a budget for minor losses. So to review, what are the key risk mitigation strategies? We have the risk avoidance, risk reductions, risk sharing, and the risk acceptance. Okay. The last one is the monitoring and review. Okay. When we say monitoring and review, because risk management is not a one-time task, okay, it requires continuous monitoring and updating. So the business environment is constantly changing. And the risks that were once low impact can suddenly become critical. Okay? So how do companies monitor the risk? Okay? Number one is the regular risk audit. So companies review their risk quarterly or annually para ma-ensure na yung risk management strategies are effective. Next is the KRI, the key risk indicators. These are the warning signs that indicates an increasing risk. And of course, adjusting risk strategies. Okay? If a risk worsen or new risk emerge, companies must update their plans accordingly. Okay? So to give the final thoughts about this risk management process, business risks are everywhere, but a well-prepared company doesn't just react to problem, it anticipates them. So ini-expect mo na yan. So by applying the risk identification, risk assessment, risk mitigation, and of course, continuous monitoring and review, businesses can ensure long-term stability and success. And always remember, a company's ability to survive uncertainties depends on how will they prepare today. Okay? Okay, next is the role of internal control system. So every business, no matter how big or small, kailangan ng internal control system to function efficiently. Isipin natin na ito na isang safety nets and guiding rules that keep an organization running smoothly. Dahil kung wala ito, yung mga businesses may suffer from fraud, from errors, from inefficiencies, or even the legal troubles. So, but what exactly do internal controls do? Okay, number one, of course, they ensure that the company operates efficiently. Walang nasasayang na resources, no unnecessary costs. They also ensure compliance with laws and regulations para hindi magkaroon ng legal issues or fines and penalties. They are also the one who protect the company's asset, both financial and physical, ensuring that walang sayang o nakukuhang hindi dapat. So to better understand, let's break down into 5 key components of the internal control. Number 1 is the control environment. Okay, this refers to the company's culture and leadership when it comes to control and compliance. Okay, kung mismong management yung nangunguna sa pagiging ethical at honest, employees will follow. Example, yung yung CEO, Chief Executive Officer, enforces strict compliance with financial reporting rules. So employees will also take accuracy and integrity seriously. Pero kung yung leadership mismo yung nagpapatuloy ng questionable practices, I expect employees do the same. Okay? Next is the risk assessment. So businesses must regularly identify and analyze risks that could prevent them from achieving their goals. Hindi pwedeng reactive lang. They must be proactive in spotting potential threats before they escalate. Example, yung mga logistic company, they assess the risk of fuel price fluctuation. So if the price of fuel skyrockets, delivery costs will increase. So by identifying this risk, they can plan ahead by looking for fuel efficient routes or negotiating fuel price contracts. Okay. Next is the control activities. Okay. These are the specific actions ng company to take the risk na pwedeng maibaba, okay? Or pwedeng ma-minimize, hindi man ma-eliminate, mabawasan man lang. Number 1 is the segregation of duties, okay? Making sure that no single employee has full control over critical transactions. Bakit? Para ma-prevent ang fraud. Next is proper authorization of transactions, ensuring that major financial transactions require approval from higher management. Okay? And next is reconciliation. So regular checking of financial records to catch discrepancies early. So those are the activities. These are the specific actions companies take to minimize the risk ng company. Okay? The segregation of duties, proper authorization of transaction, and the reconciliation. Next is the information and communication. So having a strong internal control system means ensuring that the right information reaches the right people at the right time. Okay? This is where technology plays a huge role. So automated reporting, real-time dashboard, di ba? Yung mga data analytics. Yan, they help companies make informed decision faster. For example, yung company using an automated accounting system ensures yan that the financial reports are generated in real time and allowing to detect financial issues early. Next is the monitoring. Internal controls are not a one-time implementation. They must be regularly reviewed and updated to stay effective. So, how is monitoring done? So, regular internal audits para ma-spot kung ano yung weaknesses in internal control system. Pwede ring magkaroon ng performance review to check the compliance with the policies. And yun yung mga pwede nating gawin or continuous process improvement to ensure that the company stays competitive. So, internal audit and it's important in governance ay dapat talagang pag-usapan lagi yan. So, now that we have understand the internal controls, yan nga, let's talk about the internal audit. Okay, so now let's talk about the internal audit. So again, what is an internal audit? So internal audit is an independent function within an organizations. Magkaiba yung external audit at saka internal audit. When you say internal audit, it is an independent function within an organization that evaluates how well the company's risk management, internal control, and governance processes are working. So in simple terms, internal auditors act as the company's watchdogs. Okay? Ensuring that operations are being conducted properly, efficiently, and in compliance with policies. Okay, now let's talk about the key roles of the internal audit. Okay, tingnan natin, mukhang mayroon lang tayong. Ayan, okay. Number one is assurance. So internal auditors provide an unbiased assurance of the effectiveness of the company's internal control and risk management. Halimbawa, if a company is launching a new digital payment system, so the internal auditors will review the security measures para ma-ensure that it is safe from hacking or the fraud. Second one is the consulting. So aside from audits, they also advise the management on what are the ways to improve the business processes and how to minimize the identified risk. So, an internal auditor, pwedeng mag-suggest ng i-automate po natin yung inventory management natin para to reduce human errors and prevent stock shortages. Next, internal auditors is one of their most critical roles is identifying the potential fraud risk and of course recommending strategies para ma-prevent ito. If an internal audit reveals that an employee has an access to both approving and disbursing payments, so itong si auditor will recommend segregating these roles to prevent embezzlement. Okay? So fraud detection and prevention. Other one is the compliance monitoring. So they ensure that the companies follows government regulations, industry standards, and the internal policies. So if a bank fails to comply with the AMLA or the anti-money laundering laws, it could face huge fines. Okay, so internal auditors check compliance levels to avoid such fines and penalties. And of course, they analyze the business processes to identify inefficiencies and recommend improvement that save costs and times. So if an internal audit finds that a company spend too much on manual data entry, yan. So maaring sila mag-suggest ng automation for a particular processes to boost efficiency. Okay? And of course, last is the risk management support. So internal auditors plays a crucial role in helping the management identify, assess, and mitigate risk before they become major problems. So halimbawa, before a company expand the internationally, so internal auditors review the political, financial, and regulatory risk in target country and advise management on risk mitigation strategy. So, ulitin po natin, ang review natin, key roles of internal audit. Number 1 is assurance. Number 2 is consulting. Number 3 is fraud detection and prevention. 4th is compliance monitoring. 5th, wala lang sa ating screen, pero 5th is operational efficiency review. And number 6 is the risk management support. Okay. Internal auditors as the third line of defense. Ano na ibig sabihin yan? So, companies often describe auditors as the third line of defense in governance. Kasi yung first line of defense, yan yung operational management. The people managing daily business activities. Yung mga frontliners. The second line of defense, the risk management and compliance. Ito yung mga teams na responsible for ensuring risks are identified and managed. And the third line of defense, yun yung internal audit. The independent function that reviews and strengthens risk management and internal control. So, parang isipin natin yung internal auditor, sila yung personal trainer. So, a personal trainer does not just watch you exercise. Okay? They analyze your form, suggest improvement, and push you to perform better. So, similarly, internal auditors don't just look for mistakes, okay? They also help business improve overall efficiency and the risk management. Okay, for the final thoughts naman about this topic, so internal control system and internal audit functions are essential for good governance, okay? A company that lacks strong internal controls is vulnerable to fraud, to inefficiencies, and to financial losses. So remember, internal controls ensure smooth operations and compliance. Internal audit provides assurance, consulting, fraud detection, compliance monitoring, and efficiency reviews. And internal auditors act as the third line of defense, ensuring risks are managed before they escalate. So by strengthening internal control and internal audit, companies can build a more secure, efficient, and resilient organization. Next topic is the ERM, or the Enterprise Risk Management. It is not just a process, okay, but a strategic framework that organizations adapt to systematically identify, assess, manage, and mitigate risk across all levels of the company. So the goal of ERM is to create a comprehensive organization-wide approach that aligns risk management with the organization's objectives. So ensuring that risks are addressed proactively and do not derail the company's long-term success. So, hindi katulad ng mga traditional risk management which may focus on specific risks or departments. The enterprise risk management or the ERM takes a broader, more integrated approach. So, it considers risk from all aspects of the business. So, simula sa financial and operational to strategic and compliance risk. So, in essence, ERM helps companies anticipate potential threats and opportunities. So, ensuring they are prepared for any challenges that come their way. Okay? So ano ba yung mga key components ng ERM? Number one is the risk, governance, and culture. So the first critical component of ERM is the creation of a strong risk governance structure. Okay? Kasi it ensures that risk management is not just a one-off activity, but a core part of the organization's operations. And this includes, of course, establishing risk appetite. So when we say risk appetite, an organization risk appetite refers to the level of risk it is willing to take in pursuit of its objective. So for examples, a tech company with a fast-paced innovation strategy might be more willing to take on market risk, while a financial institution may be more conservative about the credit risk. So, nagkakaroon ng establishment of risk appetite. Next is the ethical standard. A robust risk culture is grounded in strong ethical standard. And ethical conduct is very crucial for fostering trust and transparency within the organization and with external stakeholders tulad ng customers at investors. Next is the oversight responsibilities. Clear responsibilities must be assigned for monitoring and managing risk. So this includes the BODs, the risk management committees, and the senior leadership, all of whom must be aligned on risk-related decision. Isipin nyo yung company na nag-establish ng risk committee that meets quarterly to review potential threats and opportunities. So the committee's responsibility is to assess emerging risks such as cyber threats or shifts in customers' preferences, ensuring the company is ready to respond. Okay, punta tayo sa pangalawa. So risk identification and prioritization. So once the governance structure is in place, okay, the next step is identifying the risk the organization faces. So risk can come from pwedeng internal at pwede ring external sources. At napaka-importante na to categorize and prioritize them based on their potential impact and likelihood to occur. Okay? So, meron tayong tinatawag na risk mapping. So, one common tool for risk identification, yan yung tinatawag nating risk mapping, where all identified risks are plotted on a grid or chart. So, this allows companies to visually assess the severity and likelihood of each risk. So, yung heat maps, yan yung another popular tools that helps prioritize risk by using color codes. Halimbawa, yung red, para yan sa high risk. Yung yellow, moderate, and green for low. So this provides a visual representation of which risk require immediate attention. So a manufacturing company might identify supply chain disruption as a critical risk using a heat map. So they can assess the likelihood of such disruption and they can plan accordingly. Next is the risk appetite and tolerance. So we already defined the risk appetite kanina, di ba? Yung refers to the level of risk it is willing to take in pursuit of its objective. So, understanding risk appetite and tolerance is essential for aligning the risk management, okay, within the company's overall strategy. Sabi nga, risk appetite defines the amount and type of risk an organization is willing to take, while the risk tolerance is the maximum amount of risk the organization can bear before it becomes detrimental. Okay? Yes, while the risk appetite is more strategic and flexible, okay, risk tolerance is more about operational boundaries. So for example, a startup might have a higher risk appetite for market expansion, while a large corporation might have a lower appetite but a higher tolerance for fluctuation in product development costs. So bigay tayo ng example. A pharmaceutical company, di ba, may be willing to take a higher risk in their research and development or R&D phase of new drugs. So that is higher appetite. Yung willing nilang ibigay. But it will have a strict tolerance level regarding the regulatory compliance. Yun naman yung lower tolerance. Okay? Next is the risk response strategy. So once risks are identified and prioritized, it is important to develop a plan for how to respond to them. So organizations have several strategies that they can employ. Okay? Number one, avoiding risk, diba? Number two is accepting the risk. Number three is mitigating the risk. And number four is transferring the risk. Okay? So, ulitin natin to. Avoiding risk means this involves taking action to completely eliminate a risk. We cannot eliminate the risk, but pwede nating ma-minimize. Kung gusto mong ma-eliminate yung risk, i-avoid mo yung situations na yan that leads to the risk. Diba? Next is accepting. So some risks are unavoidable or too small to address. Diba? In such cases, organization may choose to accept them and monitor the situation. Next is mitigating risk. Organization can also choose to reduce the impact or likelihood of the risk. So dito, this could involve strengthening security measure or diversifying the product line to spread the risk. And the last one is the transferring risk. Sometimes, organization may transfer the risk to another party. Yung tulad yung kanina, sinabi ko yung insurance nga. Okay? The fifth is the effective communication and reporting. Yan, yung pinaka key components of the successful ERM program. So, timely, transparent, and accurate information sharing ensures that stakeholders at all levels are aware of risk and can make informed decision. Okay? Yung pag-usapan natin yung internal reporting. So, employees and managers should have, yan, dapat may clear channel which they can report potential risk. So, this could involve regular risk meeting, online reporting tools, or an internal risk management software. Mayroon din tayong tinatawag na external communication. Okay? Yung mga stakeholder tulad ng investor, customers, and regulators also need to be kept informed of significant risk. Kasi this might involve quarterly reports or dedicated sections in annual reports focusing on risk management effort. Okay? And of course, the last one is the continuous improvement. Risk management is a dynamic process. ERM requires continuous evaluation and improvement. So the business environment is constantly changing, whether through technological advancement or market shifts or regulatory updates, and the organization's approach to risk must evolve accordingly. Okay, paano? Yan. Review and revise. Number one. So regular risk assessment should be conducted para masigurado na yung risk management strategy natin ay remains effective. Kasi baka hindi na siya applicable. Okay? Kaya dapat talagang i-review and revise from time to time or as the need arises. So after major risk event, so organization should perform post-incident reviews para ma-identify yung gap in the risk processes. So review and revise. Next is learning and adapting. ERM is not about avoiding risk entirely, but about being adaptable and learning from both success and failures. So, halimbawa, nagkaroon ng cybersecurity breach. So, a company might reassess its security protocol, pwedeng improve yung staff training, and invest in stronger IT infra to reduce the future risk. Okay? So, by integrating the ERM across the organizations, companies can gain a deeper understanding of the risks they face and make informed decisions that align with the long-term goal. So ERM helps the organization or the company be proactive than reactive, giving them the resilience to navigate the uncertainties and of course will able to transform the risk into opportunities. Okay? I think that application of these principles, okay, ensures that a business can remain stable, compliant, and competitive even in the face of uncertainty. Tandaan, risk will always be present in any business environment, okay? But with a structured approach to risk management and strong internal controls, companies can minimize negative impacts or it enhance their decision-making process and even transform potential challenges into growth and opportunities. Okay? That's the risk management and internal control. So, that wraps up our discussion for today. Okay? I hope na may natutunan kayo, hindi lang in theories, but something you can actually apply in real life situation. Remember, knowledge becomes truly valuable when you use it to make better decisions, solve problems, and improve your understanding of the world around you. So, wag lang nating hayaang manatili sa papel o sa lecture yung mga natutunan natin. Gamitin natin ito sa mga practical na bagay, whether in your studies, future careers, everyday decision making. So, yun nga. Always remember, let's keep learning, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep applying what you learn. So, see you next time and great job today. See you again in the next session. Muli, pagpalang araw sa ating lahat. God bless us all. Ingat.